Have you played so much D&D that you have expended every single possible character you could possibly come up with? First of all, I'm jealous because I don't play that much D&D. Second of all, have I got news for you? Dndbeyond has this entire homebrew section where people can submit homebrew that they've created for people to play themselves. So today we're going to do something a bit different and go over a new subclass in Dndbeyond so you can maybe try that in your home game. So I went through and sorted all of the subclasses by rating, and the top 3 are Anime Swordsman, Garlic Bread Domain Cleric, and 2 Goblins in a Trench Coat, which by themselves are interesting and probably something you'd want to look into, but I'm going to go for a more serious kind of style for this video, so let's go into the Time Domain. I don't actually know if this is real or if this is a joke kind of subclass, but let's go in and look into it. So, the Time Domain Cleric. Gods of time tend to be concerned with natural order and preventing excessive meddling in time, even allowing their followers to manipulate time in their service. Don't judge me. So basically, the Cleric gets domain spells, where they get Expeditious Retreat and Featherfall. At 3rd level, they get Augury and Hold Person. 5th, they get Haste and Slow. 7th, they get Divination and Freedom of Movement. And 9th, they get Legend Lore and Modify Memory. The only ones of these that kind of really get that time feel is sort of Haste or Slow, really? Maybe Hold Person can be flavored that way. Freedom of Movement, I don't know. But, I mean, they're just domain spells, so let's see what else it gives you. At 1st level, you gain Foresight. You gain a small knowledge of, or a small degree of Foresight that improves your reaction time in combat. You can give yourself a bonus to your initiative rolls equal to your Wisdom modifier. That's pretty nice. That's pretty cool. Actually, I really like the flavor of that. You get Foresight, or just a small degree of it, so you can get a little bit of added initiative to that. That's a really nice 1st level feature. Also at 1st level, you gain Temporal Adapt. The River of Time is slower to wash away your magic. When you cast a spell with a duration of 1 minute or longer, you can double that spell's duration. Once you have used this feature, you can not do so again until you completed a long rest. Okay, so this scared me for a minute, because when you cast a spell with a duration of 1 minute or longer, you can double it. The one thing that I see with this that could be an issue is there's no cap. I know with the Sorcerer's Meta Magic, kind of can do a similar effect with the extended spell, but the fact that there's no cap on this, like the Sorcerer's Extended Spell has, I think, a 24-hour cap, you could cast a spell that lasts 30 days and double that and make it 60 days. I think I'm speaking of the spell Hollow, or the one that Druids can kind of imbue the area around them, or summon a magical tree that they can control for 30 days or something like that. So that's one thing about this that I would add on, is kind of make a cap on it, because even if you can do it once per day, if you can double a spell's effect past 24 hours, that's pretty crazy. I still like the effect. I like the idea of being able to do that as a 1st level kind of time cleric. It makes sense. So honestly, really cool either way. Channel Divinity Slow Time. At level 2, you get your Channel Divinity to bend the River of Time around you. On your turn, you can take an additional attack on top of your regular action and a possible bonus action. The additional attack, or the additional action, cannot be used to cast a spell action, and you may make no more than 1 weapon attack if you take the attack action with it. Got it. So essentially, it's similar to the Haste spell, but you're capped on it. You can't use a spell with it. Okay, I kind of like that. That's really nice, but again, the same thing, it's missing a cap. Because normally Channel Divinity is a once per day, I believe. I can't remember off the top of my head Cleric subclasses, but either way, keep that in mind. Channel Divinity Rewind Time. At 6th level, you can use your Channel Divinity to travel a small distance back in time. As a reaction, when you make an ability check, saving throw, or attack roll, you can re-roll with advantage. You may choose to use this feature after seeing the result of the roll, but before the outcome is determined. You must use the result of the second roll. Okay, so you can re-roll with advantage. So I think what this is trying to say is that it's kind of like a, what's the word? Like a lucky thing. You can use a lucky once per, actually there is no thing. Yeah, Channel Divinity must have a once per day thing, because this is, neither of these have a specification. But anyways, all of these should have a once per day cap, in my opinion, but either way, this is pretty much like a lucky feat where you can re-roll a d20 essentially. But it's worded kind of strangely, where it says you can re-roll with advantage, and then it says after you're using this, you must take the next second roll. So how it's worded here, it would make me believe that instead of you would roll once, if you don't like that number, you would re-roll with advantage, meaning you would roll 2 more d20s and take the higher number. I know it's not meant to be like that, but keep that in mind. Again, when you're writing this stuff or reading this stuff, you really need to make sure that you're very specific and meticulous with your wording. I could also be interpreting this wrong, but I mean, that's how I would read it. But again, I like everything about that. The rewind time is super cool. Again, just needs a cap. Potent spell casting. At level 8, you add your wisdom modifier to damage you deal with any cantrip. Okay, that's nice. Really doesn't have anything to do with time, but I still like that. And at 17th level. Okay. At 17th level, Time Stop is a domain spell. Okay, that makes sense. You experience no further physical effects from aging. Okay, you cannot be aged magically, and your natural lifespan is increased tenfold. You can use a bonus action to double your base walking speed until the end of your turn, and whenever you cast a cleric spell of first level or higher with a casting time of 1 minute, you may spend an additional spell slot to reduce the casting time to 1 action. The additional spell slot you spend must be a level no lower than 1 below that spell's level. Okay. This is the most unique thing in this entire subclass, and I love the idea of it. In practice, I'm not too sure of it. I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of all the spells, but being able to cast a spell that takes a minute in the course of one as an action is incredibly powerful. I can't name spells off the top of my head, but that is an incredibly powerful thing that you need to be wary of. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this stuff. That part might be overpowered, but then again, at 17th level, you know, you're probably overpowered as it is anyway, so it's really not that big of a deal. The reason I laughed earlier is because it went from 1st level, 2nd level, 6th level, 8th level, straight to 17th. A lot of other not spellcasters, but subclasses have kind of more of a structured features you get rather than 1, 2, 6, 8, 17, 9 levels later. Generally, it's kind of like maybe like a 3, 6, 12. I don't remember the actual numbers. It's just a big jump between getting anything. All in all, I actually really like the subclass. The domain spells don't really make much of a sense to me. Seeing how we have some divination stuff in here, we have some enchantment stuff. But honestly, it's pretty cool, and I would probably play this. I might change it up, or I would allow this in my game. I would definitely add caps on some of these, and I would definitely do more research into this bit on 17th. But honestly, if you're getting to 17th level in a D&D campaign, you're supposed to feel like a god killer. So that might not be too broken as it is anyway. So yeah, super cool. Time Domain Cleric. I'm not going to read that. I'm sorry, but if you're interested, go check that out. Blue Mage. This one might be interesting, actually, because if you haven't watched our livestream campaign, Behold This Crit, it may or may not be similar to this based on what I'm very broadly assuming it's based upon. So let me go ahead and open this up. It is a sorcerer, so let's take a look. To ensure victory over even the most savage foes, these implacable men and women have spent long years researching the monastic tradition of unlimited potential, the art of blue magic. Clothed in distinctive blue and black jubbas, I'm sorry, that's not how you pronounce that, but I don't know how to. In wielding curved blades, the blue mages are feared for their ability to harness a creature's strength and add it to their own. Blue magic is an art that allows a person to mimic the awesome power of monsters and far exceed the normal boundaries of mortals. So, completely sideswiped from what I thought this was about. I thought this was about like blue fire, blue flame stuff, but this is completely different than what I thought. Let's go ahead and take a look. Azure Lore. Starting when you choose this origin at 1st level, your unique physiology allows you to absorb and permanently learn to use spells and monster abilities. When you are the target of a spell or a monster's non-weapon ability, you may use your reaction to attempt to learn that ability. That's cool. Make a concentration check. If the ability causes damage, the DC equals 10 or half the damage you take, whichever number is higher. If the ability does not cause damage, the DC equals 8 plus your creature's proficiency bonus. On a success, you may add the ability to your list of Azure Lore. You may only know a number of lore abilities equal to half your sorcerer level rounded down. Proficiency bonus. If learning a new lore would cause you to exceed this maximum, you may choose a lore ability you know and replace it with a new one. That is freaking cool sounding. Half your sorcerer level rounded down plus proficiency. So this is really cool. I love this idea. You may not learn an ability from a monster whose challenge rating exceeds your level in the sorcerer class. So it balances itself. Beautiful. After using this ability, you cannot use it again until you finish a short rest. So this I would have to understand. Does this mean the ability to copy a ability or the ability to use an ability? Either way, this is super unique and I love that. Holy snot. Casting lore. You may cast any ability from your Azure Lore as if it were a sorcerer spell. Non-spell abilities on your list of Azure Lore must be cast by expending a spell slot of an appropriate level determined by the challenge rating of the creature you learned it from, as noted in the table below. That's great. So it even balances itself further by saying, okay, the creature you learned this from was a 4th level creature, or 4th CR creature. It means it's a 2nd level spell slot cost. I love that. Dude, I might want to try this class. This is so cool. Okay. You do not need to provide material components, obviously, and abilities learned this way may be affected by normal by meta magic once you've gained that feat. That's crazy. Because this could be other things like a Dragon's Breath weapon, which is bananas. But you know, I digress. When you choose this origin at first level, you gain proficiency with longswords, scimitars, and light armor. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make to identify monsters and their special powers or vulnerabilities. If you lack proficiency in the required skill, you are treated as having it only for the purpose of these monster knowledge checks. Okay, so you either get not proficiency, what's the other one? Expertise in things to identify monsters, or you're just straight up proficient in identifying monsters, which is cool. Arcane Consumption. At 6th level, you gain the ability of Arcane Consumption. The Blue Mage can attempt to learn passive or defensive abilities from creatures by eating parts of them. Some Blue Mages eat the creature's heart, others the brain. The specific part of the creature consumed doesn't appear to matter. Got it. So you consume something and you get something. Consuming a corpse takes at least 10 minutes and requires you to spend a sorcery point, make a constitution save, blah blah blah. On a success, you gain it with Azure Lore. You add this ability to Azure Lore. Each passive ability costs 1 sorcery point to maintain, reducing the available sorcery points by that amount. These abilities are always on and cannot be turned off to regain access to reserved sorcery points. The blue magic's form often changes to reflect the abilities learned. If you gain the natural base armor of a Galabjur, then your skin can take on a rocky appearance. Interesting. That's really cool. This subclass, just, I haven't even gotten to the whole thing, but from what I've got is ridiculously unique, and I like the idea of it, but I'm worried that it could very, very easily become overpowered. Just my gut feeling. Reactive Learning. Through your study of spells and monsters at 14th level, you gain the ability to quickly assess and counter the effects of a spell you see. You may cast Counterspell without expending a spell slot. You may increase the level of the spell by expending 4 sorcery points per level. After using this ability, you may not do so again until you complete a long rest. Got it. So you get a free use of Counterspell at 14th level, and at 18th level, you are limited. Though still limited by the number of powers you can have, passive abilities no longer require sorcery points to maintain, freeing up your sorcery points. Your ability to learn Azure Lore is no longer limited by CR. You may now also learn legendary abilities. Bananas, but again, I generally say 18th level and higher, or 7th level and higher abilities you get from his classes is generally meant to be overpowered and broken, so I don't really have much of a problem with that because you're pretty much god killers at that point, or you should be god killers at that point anyways, in my opinion. Yeah, so this class is so cool. I love this idea. This is amazing. In terms of, you know, uniqueness, this is for your special snowflakes in your campaign, right? This is for the main character. At least in my opinion. This is so cool. Being able to take monsters and use their abilities against them, or at least save them to use them later, is fantastic flavor. I kind of like the flavor of eating a monster. That's really cool. Kind of disgusting when you're eating something like, I don't know, maybe you eat a ooze and then things that hit you. Or maybe you eat a rust monster and, you know, you gain the ability to destroy weapons as they hit you. I can't imagine eating a rust monster, but I really like the flavor of it. Even how it's written is really well done. So, fantastic. That is the Blue Mage. Interesting name, but otherwise Cowboy Tiefling. Fantastic job. Holy cow, man. That's No, I didn't mean that as a pun. I actually say holy cow as a word. His name is Holy... never mind. Great job. Blue Mage, go check that out. Holy Toledo, dude. All right, next, let's do something that isn't a wizardy dude. I mean, we could do a druid. Let's do a druid. Circle of Evolution by Harrowing. 195 points upvoted. Huh. I really struggled to read this, so I'm going to read this one more time. You probably didn't see me read this. Let's do the Circle of Evolution, take 2. Druids of the Circle of Evolution cater to the fauna and flora around them, watching and observing their growth as well as protecting them. Many druids took in animals or sentient plants as a familiar and the focus of their studies. Their patience and keen perception allows them to grow a creature or plant with absolute care to the point that it can slowly evolve into a dominant or even stronger species. That's really cool. So this sounds like the entire base of this subclass is you growing alongside some sort of creature that you take care of, whether it be a creature, plant, what have you. I like this idea as well. Growth focus. Starting at 2nd level, upon choosing the circle, you may choose a focus of either a flora or fauna in which you gain advantage to the first saving throw and skill check revolving an animal or plant that you previously physically encountered due to careful study and first-hand experience. In addition, you gain additional bonuses and access to spells according to your focus upon reaching certain levels. Once you gain access to one of those spells, you always have it prepared and it doesn't count against the number of spells you can prepare each day. If you gain access to a spell that doesn't appear on the Druid spell list, that spell is nonetheless a Druid spell for you. Okay, so you can get a focus which gives you advantage on the first saving throw and skill check, and skill check revolving an animal or plant that you had encountered previously. Okay, that's pretty cool for 2nd level, I'll take that. You begin studying the various wildlife of the natural world, learning about their habitat and routine. Fauna focus. You may spend 10 minutes observing a creature in order to learn external information such as eating habits, sleeping patterns, or general actions it usually does. You can cut the time in half by means of physically interacting with the creature, requiring a bonus action to make an animal handling check, checks in combat against it, to gain deeper information such as attacks, AC, senses, etc. Oh, so you can do this in combat to learn things about the actual creature. That's really cool. Okay. You gain the ability to cast Speak with Animals as a bonus action. You may use it up to 2 plus half of your druid's level between rests. At 11th level, your spell is now constantly active, and you can use the bonus action to temporarily disable or re-enable this buff. Okay, so you can use Speak with Animals as a bonus action 2 times plus your druid's level between short rests. So this honestly effectively gives you the ability to speak with animals permanently. I know it says 11th, you can do it always, but 2 plus half your druid level means, you get 2 base, which is a lot of time to speak with animals. Plus, if you're level 1, that's 3 times per day, meaning you're always going to have at least 3 casts of this available to you. But I suppose it doesn't say it takes a spell slot, but it doesn't say it doesn't take a spell slot. I assume it doesn't based on how it says you can do this times between rests. So that's really nice, and I like the fact that once you hit 11th level, you can just constantly speak with animals, or turn it off if you're getting sick of the freaking bunny talking your ear off. But let's go down here. We take a look at these other spells we get. Animal Messenger, Beast Sense, Conjure Animal, Daylight, Dominate Beast, Locate Creature, Greater Restoration, and Gaius. Okay, I don't understand the Gaius part, per se, but I can understand pretty much everything else. That's a pretty good spell list, honestly. Oh, that's if you're a fauna focus. Okay, so that's if you're focusing just on beasts. If you're focusing just on plants, you get something else for the flora focus. You begin studying the various species of plant life, may it be neutral or hostile to you, and becoming adept in treating it with care. You may spend 10 minutes studying a plant in order to learn its properties and information. Same thing, you get the Speak with Plants, only this time you can do it 1 per half your spell level, or druid level. Don't know why that is. And then you gain Spike Growth, Bark Skin, Plant Growth, Erupting Earth, Conjure Woodland Beings, Grasping Vines, Commune with Nature, Tree Stride. That is cool. I love this. You get to you essentially get a tree of what direct, because it's a druid, get it? You get a tree, branching path of which one you can choose, and depending on which one you choose, you get different things. I love that. At 2nd level, you get a Druid Companion. Based on your focus, an animal plant, no larger than medium, with a challenge rating of a half or lower. Blah, 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 obeys your commands, blah, 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 blah. When traveling through favorite terrain with only your companion, you can move stealthily at a normal pace. If your companion dies, you can obtain another one by spending 8 hours magically bonding. Okay. Upon gaining level, you roll a d4 to apply a trait to your companion's evolution. Whoa, wait a minute. Like any creature, the companion can spend hit dice during a short rest. Okay, great. But the part I care about is this. You can roll a d4 to apply a trait to a companion's evolution, which they obtain when they level up. This is repeated at 5th level, 9th level, 13th level, and roll a d6 at 17th and 17th level, roll a d8 twice. Alternatively, at 3rd level, you can choose to pick a trait of your choice from rolls 1 to 4, but you no longer roll a trait at 5th level. At 9th level, you can instead choose a single trait between rolls 1 and 6, but no longer roll a trait at 13. And at 7th level, you can choose... Okay, so you get freedom to choose. Evolution trait. So they grow horns, spikes, or claws. They get more lethal. Give your companion a +1 to damage each roll each time this trait is picked. God, so it stacks. Oh, this is cool. Damage. Your companion survive, blah, blah, blah. You get extra AC. Special organ with a new special damage type. This damage type of another choice. This is cool. Companion has honed its senses, developed perception and stuff, so it gains dark vision, blind sight, tremor sense of 15 feet, or you may roll a d4 instead and gain either one of those up to 30 feet. But you get the ability to possibly get true sight, which is bananas. What? That's crazy. Being in your company has taught the companion a few new tricks that its species normally can't perform. Choose a skill that you're proficient in and make your companion also proficient with that skill. Okay. Honing its strengths and weaknesses, your companion takes an expeditious growth towards evolution. Choose one of your companion's ability scores and increase it by 2 or increase by 1, which does not apply at the cap of 20. Okay. Adapting to its environment, the companion becomes more resilient and strong enough to live in hostile situations. Choose a damage type, and your companion reduces damage taken by that amount you roll. If you take in more than once, you choose the same damage type, your companion also gains resistance to that type of damage as well. Okay, so it's just more protection and growing stronger. At this point, it has reached the next stage of evolution. Your companion gains a legendary action in which can be used once in battle with any attack it has. That's crazy. This is quite literally, this class is not about the druid, right? You're effectively getting a slightly weaker another player character in this situation here, which is really cool. I love this. I don't know how it would balance out, but based upon the fact that this whole class has 195 points upvoted, it seems like a lot of people like it. At 6th level, you gain sentience. Your pursuit of knowledge and growth allows you to find a way to gather information much quicker, up to 3 times per day. You can cast Awaken with halved component cost and casting time. So you can cast Awaken on your buddy, so they are smart. Okay, that's cool. I would have rather this not have been casting this 3 times per day, because, I mean, granted, that's effectively... Yeah, so this is one thing that I don't like about subclasses, and sometimes they do this, is this is at 6th level. Awaken is a 5th level spell. I would have much rather preferred giving them access to cast Awaken, because it doesn't say anything about casting this on something other than your familiar, right? So realistically, you could cast Awaken on a giant freaking tree, and you would have an Awakened tree as a pet for a while your plant's still just in a freaking pot. So I'd rather this just say that your, flora, fauna, what have you, has sentience now, and it can act on its own accord, or maybe it acts as its own initiative. But it's a really cool concept. I just don't like when the Awaken spell added in here when it could just be, you know, thrown in to the class itself without having to be a 5th level spell slot use. Not that it uses a spell slot, but just the fact that you're getting a 5th level spell at 6th level doesn't really make sense in terms of the overall balance of the game. I see what they're going for with this. Just, I feel like Awaken would be better here without Awaken, just make it sentient overall. But still really cool. Companion Shapeshift. At 10th level, your strong bond with your companion allows you your wild shape, either yourself or your companion, to the other. If you choose the wild shape of your companion, you also gain any traits it has obtained, but your language is replaced to that of your companion, and you gain a +3 wisdom perception against you while it's in your form, or while in this form. The same applies to your companion, replacing its language of that of yours. So does this... If at any point you or your companion exhibits behaviors that's outside its usual behavior, the next wisdom or insight check against you... Got it. So this means you can shapeshift into your companion, and your companion can shapeshift into you. That's cool. That's really cool. And it's with your wild shape too. So that means it's, you know, you get your wild shape charges as a normal druid, but you can use it instead of shapeshifting into something else to shapeshift into your companion, or shapeshift your companion to you. The one thing I will say is there is, from my understanding, there is no reason to not have your companion shapeshift into you. Because if you can choose your if you choose to wild shape to your companion, you also gain any traits it has obtained. But this same also applies to your companion. Meaning that your companion is effectively another you. This is effectively a simulacrum of the character. That's only real balancing is the fact that it's a wild shape charge. So this right here, from my understanding, makes this broken, because you have crazy, you have 2-player characters in your control now. You have literally duplicate player characters for one person, which is nuts. Unless I'm reading this wrong, that's effectively what I'm getting at. There's no reason I would transform into my companion. I would always make my companion transform into me, and then make him cast some sort of stupid, crazy spell. Or if they can't cast spells, then I would just have them attack and eat damage, because I'm obviously going to have more health than the companion. So realistically, this right here makes this subclass broken, and I almost don't like that. Unless I'm missing something here, I think this breaks it a little too much. Synergistic Evolution. At 14th level, your talent for evolution has allowed you to take on a higher form with the aid of your trusted companion. Using your entire turn, you combine with your nearby companion to temporarily transform into a new being. In this new form, you gain temporary hit points equal to that of your companion's current hit points, taking on all the traits it have obtained so far, and gain the ability to use your companion's attack. While you have temporary hit points from this feature, you can maintain this form as long as you want, but once you lose your temporary hit points, your new form ends after a number of rounds equal to 2 plus your wisdom modifier. You may choose to use your turn in order to end the effect and revert to your normal form. This is a lot of keeping track of things, but so far sounds cool. Once you revert back to your normal form and your hit points is below half of your hit points at the time you activate the feature, divide it evenly between yourself and your companion, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you can go back. I like that. I think that's really cool, because you're kind of... At this point, you're like a symbiotic relationship with this creature. It's kind of like, you know, fusion with the Dragon Ball stuff. Which is awesome, and the fact that you get access to all of these traits that the companion also has is really, really cool flavor. Honestly, this entire subclass, there's a lot to remember. This Druid in D&D is already a relatively difficult class, specifically because of all the spells that you can do, all the wild shapes you can have. In fact, you have to prepare spells, you have access to all of the spells, all this other crazy stuff. It's difficult. This subclass adds a whole nother level to difficulty here. You need a freaking degree to run this subclass, but honestly, if you can run this, it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm getting performance issues on my recording. I don't know what that means, but this subclass looks really fun, really strong. Might take a bit to get used to, And it might be a bit broken with the companion shapeshift feature here, but it's super unique, super cool idea, and honestly, I love it. So that's fantastic. And honestly, I could also be reading these wrong as well. I may just be reading them incorrectly or interpreting them wrong. But even if I am interpreting them wrong, it's very easy to fix them with just small little tweaks here and there. So those were some subclasses that are on Dndbeyond. There's a lot here, guys, and there's some fun stuff. There's some funny stuff with, Garlic Bread Domain Cleric, and there's some terrible stuff with the Ninja that for some reason has negative 37 points. So always do your due diligence when you're looking into this kind of stuff, because some of these subclasses are great. Some of them are balanced and fun, made by people who are actually enjoying the game and making them for themselves, and they want to share them with other people. Other people do this and create the Ninja, which I don't know what this guy did, but he is apparently hated by everyone because he has negative 37 points. A lot of these do tend to have a little bit of balance issues, so just make sure that you read them and make sure you check with your DM before you say, oh, I want to do this, because I guarantee you, if you show up to your D&D campaign session 0 with a Garlic Bread Domain Cleric, they're probably going to ask a couple of questions. So keep that in mind. Anyways, that's all I got for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed this kind of style video, let me know. It's kind of different than what I usually do. Actually, it's very different than what I normally do, seeing as how I normally write a script and do all this extra work. This one's kind of nice because I get to relax, sit down, and, have a drink of water over here and just kind of talk into a camera. Really nice. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, let me know. If you didn't, also let me know, because I'm trying to spread out, trying to add more videos, and try to add more value to the channel. And it's something really important to me. I want to add more value as much as I can. And I know this might not necessarily be value because I'm just reading off of a screen, but who knows, maybe people might like this kind of stuff. Anyways, yeah, so yeah, thanks for watching. Go check out our live stream at Friday 7:30 p.m. EST. Behold this crit. We're on episode like 67 or 68 now. It's getting really interesting. Go check that out if you want to check it out live. Our podcast just dropped. You can check it out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, all those fun places. Just look for Behold This Crit. And we just dropped a Discord into Patreon. So if you're interested in Discord, the link is in the description below, or Patreon. Just look up This Crit, also in the description, if you want to be super cool and get some really cool rewards. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on Friday. I hope. I'll see you there. That'd be great.